Oh, yo, 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 yo. Oh, yo, yo, yo. Came up from the struggle, now we stacking chips. Black Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich. Donnie Glover Show, watch her shift the switch. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Talking black excellence, ain't no exclusivity. History in making, reclaiming our divinity. Break by break, rebuilding our community. Donnie Glover Show, celebrate unity. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the real ones come. Every episode, dropping knowledge, dropping bombs. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. From the boardroom to the streets, we making waves. Business minds running, new paths paved. Politicians listen, they know we the brave. Black Wall Street dreams rising from the grave. Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Spotlight on the hustle where the
we have some stars in the building.
Donnie Glover Show by BMOnews.com. Oh, yo. Oh, yo. Oh, yo, 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 yo.
We'd like to welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Special thank you to our executive producer of Be More News in Niagara, Mr. Emmanuel Price. We're up here on, this is the New York side, and that's the Canadian side, and we will be there for the New Year's dropping of the ball or somewhere around here. Very beautiful Niagara Falls, some of the best water in the world. So make sure you get out, get your passport, and do some traveling. And keep watching BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Welcome to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Here on Atlantic, Mississippi, with our very dear friend Corey Mathis. A beautiful town, New Orleans. Keep watching BeMoreNews.com. We're going to give you an update. 10 years since Katrina. The news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
Wall Street, we rebuilding from the pits. Politics and business, we beyond rich.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover. Entered the winner for the long haul, baby. Mr. Robert Dashiell, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Doni. How you doing, brother?
Good. For those who don't know, who are you?
That's a question I sometimes ask myself, particularly in the morning. I'm an attorney here in Baltimore. I've been practicing now for about 53 years. I'm one of the founders of the original Maryland Minority Contractors Association.
I had to write that in my book, man. I got a new book coming out, and I talk about you, Doug Sands, Bob Dashiell,
and Robert Clary. Right. The three of us formed the Maryland Minority Contractors Association back in, I think it's 1978 or so. And
That's iconic work.
Pardon?
You are a living icon.
I'm living. That's the operative word. I appreciate that. But rather than moving forward in terms of the evolution of the interests of Black folk, it seems like we're moving in the opposite direction. I think that's probably because we stood still so long, thinking that we were all right where we were.
We stopped fighting. We got comfortable.
Yes.
We were able to move beyond Baltimore City to the suburbs. Instead of triggers, rats, and roaches, we started getting bunny rabbits, deer, and foxes, and that ride out Liberty Road got us soft.
We fought for the right to give away our assets to a different community that had already taken almost all of what we had. So, but there are a few of us left who've never really stopped fighting. And our mission, I think, at least I speak for myself, my mission is to give that spirit to not just the next generation, but the generation that follows, to my grandkids. That's what I'm about these days.
How do we teach our grandchildren to fight?
By simply telling them the truth. By simply telling them the truth and instilling in them a sense of right or wrong, and letting them know who to follow, how to discern, how to tell the difference between false prophets or false shepherds or phony shepherds and the real shepherd. And that's never changed. I for many years I disregarded it. My grandmother taught it to me many years ago, and I misunderstood her. I thought that that picture that she hung on the wall with a white man of long blonde hair and blue eyes was in fact her understanding of who Jesus was. It wasn't. It was simply symbolic, but it was there as a reminder to her to keep the faith, that her prayers would be answered. And indeed, she lived a mighty long time, for to 99 years old. And she dropped out of school in the third grade to raise children that weren't even hers. I was one of them. Uh, so if I can help instill that spirit, that understanding in my grandkids, along with the truth, then I will have accomplished. I'll leave this world a happy person.
What song did she hum?
Pardon me? Would you say?
What song did she
Hey,
hum?
Jesus, keep me near the cross.
So you know
Jesus,
how
keep
she come on.
me near the cross. There a precious fountain, free to all, thy healing stream flows from Calvary's mountain.
Not
That's a,
bad.
it's better after I have a cup of coffee.
Okay, you heard her humming that in the kitchen?
Oh yeah, she not just in the kitchen, around the house. And what it wasn't that, it was Precious Lord. Um, she was a believer. She was a believer, and that her strength. I mean, this is a woman who, Donnie, raised six kids that weren't hers, and I never ever saw her spend a dollar on herself. It was always for somebody else in the family, either my mother or from one of my, for me mostly, or from one of my brothers and sisters. I never saw this woman spend a dollar even to buy herself a pair of stockings. But yet she worked every day, two jobs. She cooked our food and had to go down the street and cook and serve dinner to the white folk, and then come back, and was lucky if she had something to eat for herself, because we were so ravenous that we didn't even understand. Uh,
That you
uh,
should leave something for grandma.
yes, yes, yes.
When you were a kid, did you ever hear anybody say, if the kids say they was hungry and it's like past dinner time, drink some water?
Well, we ain't had to see it, because if it was past dinner time, you knew it wasn't nothing left no way. So, so you could go in there searching them pots all you want, but you wouldn't go find nothing but bones, if that, or maybe a little what they call liquor left from them greens. But it wasn't gonna be no food left. You had to wait till the next day, or go out and find yourself something somewhere else.
So were they originally from the Eastern Shore, or were they from further south, like Virginia, South Carolina?
No, my folks came from the Eastern Shore. They were right, placed not in Salisbury, but a little place close called Mardella Springs, and they call it Mardella Springs, Wallertown, Head the Creek, Quantico, Hebron, Sharptown. We all around in that area. Santo Domingo, which was right outside of Sharptown.
You know, Mr. Bob, when I went down to New Orleans, I was reminded of how much history that's right in front of our face that we don't even know.
There's a tremendous amount of it, but because history, you only know it if somebody tells it to you. See, it was as a people, we didn't necessarily rely on the written word to communicate important messages for a lot of reasons. Number one, somebody could intercept them and read them and tell and know in advance what we were planning to do. But we communicated in a lot of ways, mostly orally. So when older generations passed on, if they hadn't already communicated the history to the next generation, that history was lost, except to the extent we could locate artifacts and signs and physical symbols and things of that nature. But we have a rich history, and if young people just take time to sit down and listen, so you can't approach older folks like you're an interrogator, like you got with a series of questions. No, you just got to sit down, get comfortable, turn the clock off, and say, what you got for me today? And just sit back. It might take a minute before they get wound up because, but they remember more than most of us will ever learn.
They like the deuce and a quarter. You got to turn it on and pat the gas.
Yeah, yeah. You just got to let it run a minute. And my grandfather was like that. He didn't talk. My grandfather was born in 1898. uh, Died at 103 years old. Never learned to read or write, which fooled me for a long time because he used to take me to church and he would always have this roll of pens in his jacket pocket. So it never occurred to me that somebody who carrying a roll of pens in his jacket pocket didn't know how to use them, but he didn't. But if you, and he didn't talk much, but if you sit down for a minute and just act like you can't act like you impatient because he's lived a long time and you got to show some respect for that long life. But if you show a little patience and just get him to talking, and don't you get listen to yourself, get him talking and just sit there for a minute. He could tell you stories, and we're storytellers, Don. As a people, we're story. That's how we communicate. We tell stories. We don't give chronological dates. This happened on this date. We tell stories, and you got to extract the dates from the story. But
All
we're
right, so
great.
I'm getting ready to ask you a question now.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember in the late 70s, and my sister, she was a grown woman, but she had on this practically net blouse, practically see-through. And I remember my parents and I, we went over to her house. She had a cookout. And we looked at it and it was like, put some damn clothes on.
Yeah.
This was at a time, it was, mid-70s. Afros were big and sexual liberation and all of that stuff. So say that was 75.
Mm.
This is 50 years later, 2025. I'm in the Royal Farms, young ladies in there, couldn't have been no more than 25, 30. Her whole hind parts were just there in your face.
Yeah.
What have we become today? What has social media done to make the person next door literally take off their clothes for total strangers? I submit to you, the hookers don't know what to buy anymore to wear.
Well, yeah, buy nothing. It's interesting you point that out because a friend of mine who recently attended I guess it was a celebration of someone who had graduated from Bowie State University, and he commented upon me. This is a guy, an older person like me, and he commented on the same thing that you're mentioning, that how these kids. I think it was there for the graduation, and he was there. He said, man, he said this one girl came up there not only with see-through, but obviously no underwear whatsoever, and it was so tight that you could see the outline of the hair around her genital areas. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to. I really don't. It to me.
Is it trauma?
No, it's a confirmation of a very troubling aspect.
It's not
It's
trauma.
it's that you it's affirmation of your lack of value as a human being. That's really what it is. It's an affirmation of your lack of value as a human being. And because we live in a time where our value is no longer, society doesn't assign. There was a time when we were worth a little bit. Now we ain't worth nothing. And that's what too many of our young girls dress like. They ain't worth nothing.
Danny, I'm in the Royal Farms, and a young lady who was in front of me, she ordered her items, and I noticed she had her whole ass out.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing else. I don't know what else she described. Nothing was left to the imagination. It's just bam. What have we become? What is that? Trauma?
It's peer pressure.
My boss said, I just don't care no more.
Don't care, peer pressure. They want to be the next big. They want to be seen. They want to be, outrageous. They want to be, talked about. They want to be, you know, they think they're important. It's troubling.
Where
It's
did the
very,
older women fail? Or did the older women fail? Just like with the young boys, you see a cat and his pants is down.
Yeah.
The first thing I got to do is check my pants, make sure I am straight. Then I need to get the heck away from young buck before I say something slick and get knocked out. Because if you don't know that your hind parts is out, I don't know what to tell you, partner. I know what to tell you. Don't go over the bookings today.
people get caught up with this, this narrative, this propaganda that's been around us since the beginning of time.
Can we blame the white man?
Well, see, I didn't even want to say that. I didn't even want to say the white man, but the white man does set the narratives, but we carried it out. We the only ones who can come back and be close to our
Why
kids.
does a grown man want to show his hind parts in public?
Donnie, it's
mentality.
yeah, but it's also a rebel. It's a statement of rebellion. It says, "Can't nobody tell me what to do."
That's right.
And that means I can do whatever I want to do with my body, with my clothes, with my mind. Can't nobody. I do not acknowledge anybody or anything to be my leader, and therefore because I refuse to be accountable to anybody. I refuse to accept responsibility, even for myself.
So
And
what
we
does this
think
3-year-old daughter think?
we think somehow that denial of accountability and responsibility is itself evidence of independence and freedom. We use words, and I say to people all the time, people use words with the impression that they all have a common understanding and meaning. They don't. And so we're confused. We got a generation of young people who are confused about what it means to be a young lady. We got a generation of young people who are confused about what it means to be a man, a male, be a man. And that's because, Donnie, they look around and they don't know who to accept as a model for either one.
Mhm.
And they choose the one they can most easily accomplish themselves. You don't have to spend no money to get naked. You don't have to spend no money to drop your pants below your butt line. See, I can do that I can do that when I'm broke, and you can't tell whether I'm broke or got much money I got by how low my pants hang. See, young people want to be accepted. They want to be successful. We have failed because we have as a generation we have not channeled those natural desires in a productive and a positive way.
You're right. I mean, they just had a party over the weekend. I think it was like 100 kids at this party, and they were fighting and all of this carrying on just over the weekend. And somebody was shot, um, and they're just running rampant in the community. And I think it was over there, Dorchester or something like that. They one of those big houses. Somebody uh, rented it out for having parties at, and it was like, I mean, the neighborhood is so terrorized, and these women, girls walking around half naked in the community. Just it's a bad state we're in right now.
How did
What
we
we
get
do?
this far gone? Is it a lack of spirituality? Is it a carryover of 1960s when Dr. King and Malcolm got killed? And is it the rebirth of the sexual revolution? I mean,
It,
you
it's
can
it's
be whatever you want in this country, but if you just want to be a man to your woman and a father to your children, that seems like the real hero is no longer special anymore.
well, it is a reflection of a lack of leadership, but it's much more than that. It's that our leaders never told us what the end was supposed to be like. So in other words, they didn't leave us they didn't leave a path to follow. They didn't leave an objective that the next generation could strive for, that they believed in, and accepted. You know,
Who were the leaders? Because they killed Malcolm and Martin, and
I'm
that
I'm
caused
talking
us
about
not to trust the
I'm
people around them.
yeah, I'm talking about that generation. I mean, who are we left with? Who are your young people left with today? Al Sharpton?
No.
I mean, come on.
The
I mean,
ones that are accepted by mainstream media. Yeah, Al
yeah, yeah,
Sharpton,
yeah, yeah,
Jesse
yeah,
Jackson,
yeah.
Mark
Well, they ain't by
Morial.
those names mean nothing to the generation behind you and me.
No.
They don't even recognize. You could walk down the streets of Sandtown and ask people who Pam Mitchell was, and 7 out of 10 couldn't tell you who he was.
You can
And,
walk down Randallstown and ask him who parents is. Don't say nothing to us. Hold up. There's the challenge. Sandtown versus Randallstown on Black History. I bet you Sandtown will win.
I bet you not. I bet you not.
Now,
No,
y'all don't even know who
no.
Ella White
You
Campbell
got to
was.
be kidding me. Come on now. You really,
yeah,
Donnie?
I would
Look,
love
I
to.
wouldn't even. I wouldn't even. Do that. I'm just. Hopefully, there are people in Sandtown that know. Hopefully, there's people in Randallstown that know. But I ain't gonna fit the team because we both could lose. Or it depends who you
yeah.
talk to.
Well, we say this jokingly, but how then does a Ruben Amaya become popular? And I'm not just picking on you. How then does a Zeke Cohen become popular? How then does a
We did.
Dara? How
We
then
did.
does a Dara Attar become state senator with Malcolm Ruff looking befuddled?
We
How
we
then does Julian Jones walk around like he's seemingly confused as to what the future looks like if he don't get some elbow grease over there
And
in
and
Essex?
Dundalk. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Donnie, where is our project 2025?
Ooh.
Where is the roadmap to our future? Who
Mm.
is written?
Well,
Who has
well,
written it?
I thought the speaker had come up with a black agenda,
What?
Adrian Jones.
Yeah. Well, how about the Black Caucus? What's their agenda?
We have the largest black caucus in the
Reparations?
country.
Reparations? I mean, that's their biggest thing is the reparation committee?
Project 2025 wasn't written by politicians. It was written by people who told the politicians what to do.
Hmm.
See, we looking for the wrong. So because I don't care what color the politician is. I've never met one, save one, whose primary objective was anything other than getting reelected and
Right.
doing and saying anything to accomplish that purpose. Now, the goal of getting reelected is not necessarily consistent with what's in my best interest. In fact, too often we give black folk the largest group of people to take advantage of black voters is black politicians. They're the ones who assume that because I'm the same color as you, you're going to support me no matter what.
I'm going to debate you on that, Mr. Bob. I thought APAC was the biggest pimp of black politicians.
I don't believe that because we give black
That's
folk.
the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, because when I saw Hakeem Jeffries explaining why he supported Israel and what he wanted to see from this new mayor of New York, it left me to think that black politicians feel like they can't be in office unless they have the support of AIPAC, or they
Well,
can't go far nationally, i.e. Obama, i.e. Westmore, unless they buy into AIPAC. Because on the news Sunday, Hakeem Jeffries talked about the Jewish community's safety before he talked about redlining and what's happening in the black community. And what's even more baffling is our understanding of history, because in my studies, I thought the Hebrew children of Israel were black.
as
And
as
I don't see nobody talking about the black Hebrews, the Phalacians of Ethiopia. I just hear people talking about another people who have come, stuck up them people for their land, and told them the Bible says you got to get out when they white in a black land from another land. But they got us confused as to where the Bible and the Jewish history comes from. And the Bible says Solomon was black and comely.
well, unfortunately, Donnie, a lot of folks
He left
conflate.
black and he came back white. I don't know who this Negro is.
well,
He done
you're
did
not.
the Michael Jackson. I don't know him. Your mom ain't gonna let you in. If you leave black and you come back Michael Jackson white, your mom ain't gonna let you in.
Being an Israelite and a Jew is not the same thing.
No, it's not.
Being an Israelite and Israeli is not the same thing as being a Jew necessarily. The if what gets very little play in this country is the extent to which the political action in the place that is known today as Israel is opposed by the people who live there. We don't they don't tell you of the daily demonstrations and protests against Netanyahu. They know he's a four-time indicted criminal. They know he's just as corrupt as Trump. They know that he tried to do the same thing which Trump is trying to do, to strip the courts of the power to convict him. They know that, and but you won't hear that in the news, in the media of this country, because they want to portray the notion that the Israelites, the Israeli, and the Jews are all the same people. They're not. They never were, and they won't be. But the reason why Hakeem Jeffries says what he says is the same thing I said, because Hakeem Jeffries is only interested in retaining the power for Hakeem Jeffries.
Mm.
He's not interested in what's in the best interest of black folk,
So
because he got them in the bag because he can rhyme, he can string together, he can rap, and we'll go for that. And the reason for that is, Donnie, we have, what is our roadmap to where? The civil rights movement never told us what the destination was. That's the problem.
yeah, you look at the race in New York for the mayor seat. We know that Eric Adams, should have been in jail, but he had a talk with Trump, and Trump helped him out, so he ran as an independent. Como, you have him there in New York, running again for the mayor's seat. Of course, he has all this baggage. You have this young Indian guy who's running as a socialist, who galvanized all these young progressive kids and stuff like that. And think about this: in 2021, There were it was about 3,000 people in the same period in 2021, according to an analysis by the New York Times. In 2025, 37 people registered to vote compared to 3,000 in 2021. This young kid understood the assignment on how to capitalize on the the things that were going on in New York City. So here he coming out of nowhere. He's called himself a socialist. Of course,
A democratic
rich
socialist.
family. Yeah, he comes from a rich family. He was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He was endorsed by AOC and stuff like that. So he has changed some of the things that are going on in the Democratic Party. Now, is this the way of the future or not? But right now, currently, it certainly is in New York, has changed a lot because these young folks have been galvanized. We had folks from here, from the Maryland Democratic Party, from the Baltimore County Central Committee that went to New York and knocked on doors for him. He knocked on so many doors, and this is the outcome. He came from nowhere, but his timing was everything.
It says that they're tired of the old, same old.
Yeah, I think that's
and it
what
also says they're tired of the high cost of living in New York City.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's right. And a lot of these
Paul
folks.
Robeson was a socialist, wasn't he? This Mr. Dashiell.
I'm sorry. I was reading the update on the Trump's big beautiful bill and the fact that it's still tied up.
Let's touch on that. What is the big beautiful bill?
It is absolutely disastrous for most Americans, and including Black folk in particular. I mean, there's so many parts. Last count, it used to be 1,167 pages. Now I don't know how many pages it is now because it's been rewritten so many times and added to. But basically, the idea is it will codify the 2017 tax cuts for rich folk that Trump signed into law in his first administration. It will make those tax cuts permanent, and it will pay for those tax cuts with the lives of many Americans, including many Black people who get 11 million or so who might get cut off from health care, not including the ones the children who will lose the nutrition, and the elderly who will lose care. And the judges who will lose the power to stop Trump by means of use of injunctive relief. It will enhance Trump's position as dictator of the world.
When are white people going to step up and impeach him?
Well, impeachment.
When are white people going to impeach him? Because this is not what we signed up for. This is authoritarianism. White people put him in there. White people got to remove him. When are they going to step up? I'm tired of hearing the violins. You know he's a damn criminal. When you going to G-check him?
Well, it's not going to be impeached because, well, let me put it this way. Even if he's impeached, he won't be convicted. See, impeachment only means that the House files charges against him. Convicted means the Senate has to sustain those charges, which has to be by 2/3 vote. That ain't going to happen between now and 3 years from now. He's only got 3 years left, and that process will not. There's not enough time in that period for that process to play out. Hey, it could be if you had enough of the 100 people in the Senate or the 400 whatever it is in the House, if they had enough guts to do what I think the majority of them know is right. But most of them are just like Hakeem Jeffries. All their primary concern, even if they have others, their primary concern is retaining their own power and authority, so they can get the bennies of being in office. They can get the trips. They can walk down the halls and people respect them.
Man, I saw Hakeem Jeffries yesterday, and the thing that got me, he talked about the Jewish community before he talked about his own Black and Caribbean communities. And I'm like, dog, I understand you getting a check from AIPAC. I get that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about them before your own? Why do we need you? I'm just, Why do we
Yeah.
need you?
That's right.
Because you're talking about their issues before your own people. And no disrespect to anybody's Holocaust. Ain't nobody went through the Holocaust black people endured in America.
That's right.
And it's still going on.
And he knows that. So that makes your question even more cogent. What what with that knowledge, and he's an intelligent, he's a learned individual.
His name is Hakeem. It ain't Gerald. It ain't Joe. It ain't Billy. Hakeem.
Yeah, that's supposed to mean something.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like him, Hot.
Well, now he didn't endorse the young fella who won the.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
The young Muslim fella, the young Muslim fella that won the Democratic
But the rich parents.
Yeah, but we've always been told wait till we get back and we'll fix it. We were told that after the Civil War. We were told that.
Your name is Hakeem. It ain't Bob. It ain't Billy.
And we've always put symbolism over reality. We've always been more than willing. Oh, you don't even have to give me a glass for the Kool-Aid. All you got to do is show it to me, and you'll quench my thirst.
Kind of like us going out there naked.
Yeah.
You used to want to take a girl on a date.
Yeah.
You think about, after several dates, I'd like you to meet my mom. I'm not taking you to meet my mother. I'm not taking you anywhere.
I'm taking you to the
going around the corner with you.
First of all, your mom ain't home. She either at the casino or she out with the young girl that you talk about dating.
Or she at the tattoo parlor.
Oh, yeah.
So with the big beautiful bill with the SNAP benefit cuts, what it would do, the Republicans would institute more work requirements for people who rely on supplemental nutritional assistance program food stamps. Able-bodied adults under age 65 will be required to work 80 hours per month, with exceptions for those with children under 10. The other thing with the
grandma she got work 20
Medicare
hours.
cuts, with the Medicare, because the Republicans targeted Medicare program, which 72 million people rely on for health care, by instituting work requirements of 80 hours a month again for able-bodied adults under age 65, with exception. So what do you think about that? Those people who are under 65 years old who are receiving these checks, do you think that they should be required to do something?
Should the CEOs that got them golden parachutes in 2008 from Obama, I think they should have to work too.
That's great. But these folks right here, the ones that we know about.
Did they make them CEOs work? No, they just gave them the corporate welfare, socialistic welfare.
And they gave them those big buyout checks, even when things were going underwater.
So if they make them work, then leave the 60-year-old people alone.
Okay.
Tell him make his daughter work. Tell him make Jared Kushner work.
Tell him make his
tobacco road.
See, it starts off with the premise. You got to understand that the premise is that there's a whole lot of people who already have something that they haven't earned. But the corollary to that is everybody who has it earned it. Neither one of those is true. Neither one of those is true. But you buy into it because of the mentality that's been imposed upon us, that we've been taught. We've been taught that we live in a place with survival of the jungle, and if you can't survive, you deserve to be eaten by the strong animals. Go ahead.
Mr. Bob, we also buy the storyline that our people came to America in the bottom of a slave ship. Yeah. Nobody has shown me definitive proof that my people came here in the bottom of a damn slave ship. I believe we were already here, not descendants of a slave ship, but prisoners of war.
Well, we didn't come here as slaves. Even those who came here in the bottom of the boat didn't become slaves until we got here. Until then, we were victims of kidnapping. But the other thing is, the notion, and and those of us who claim this place is ours, are as guilty of as anybody else. The notion that you can discover a place where there are already people living who don't own it, and yet at the same time espouse a principle that possession is 9/10 of the law, but ignore that when it comes to the people who are already here and claim it to be yours. This notion of colonization of the right of white people to take what they want anywhere in the world, whether it's Greenland, Canada, the Antarctic, or any place else. That is the fundamental. That's with Africa, with the now, or the Chinese who've taken over what other folk left off, and particularly in Africa, in Northern Africa. That notion that if your gun is bigger than my gun, if my gun is bigger than your gun, then I win. Whatever I can take is mine.
Mhm.
That is the principle. That's what's espoused by every time we watch The Duke, John Wayne, or every time we turn on Hopalong Cassidy or Roy Rogers or any of those, or even Zorro for that matter.
Or the bullies, or the bullies that was in our classrooms when we went to school,
Yeah,
or in our
yeah,
neighborhood. The
yeah.
bullies always took what they wanted.
Right.
Johnny, they ever took your money?
No, you had to fight. One, my daddy bigger than you, and I'm gonna have to fight him if you take something from me. No. I mean, you live in Baltimore, you're gonna get tried. Somebody gonna try you, but you got to fight. You know that on North Avenue. Those are the rules.
Yeah. But yeah, you had to. But the notion that if I thought I could beat you, then I was entitled to take whatever I wanted that you had. That's it's that principle that I'm talking about.
You got to fight the bully, because the bully ain't gonna stop until you bust his damn head with a
You gotta
brick.
bust them. You gotta bust them up.
Yeah, but what creates the bully? Bullies ain't born. How did the person come to become a bully in the first place?
Their mother neglected them.
And they thought that taking something, regardless of whether the person was the only way they were going to get what they wanted.
They were just operating from the hip at that point because their mother and their father didn't properly love them. For whatever reason, the father wasn't in their life. I had best friends, and I never saw their father ever in 50 years. I have never seen their father.
I don't see the connection between lack of direction, parental direction, or even presence, and the notion that if I'm strong enough, I have a right to take whatever I want from whoever may have it. I don't see that connection. That's a non sequitur to me.
So do you guys think that these organizations, the 9-5 and the Boulets and all of this and all that stuff there has affected the Black community? Yeah.
But
No, bring it. Come on, Donnie, bring it. Bring it. Is that part of the propaganda from the white man that goes back?
What about the propaganda that we do ourselves? We have this thing on Pennsylvania Avenue called the Pennsylvania Avenue Arts District. Do you know where the office for the Pennsylvania Avenue Arts District is? It's on Utah Street.
Absolutely.
Do you understand how god-daggone bizarre and foolish that sounds to me, somebody who lives in the community? So I got to go another 2 blocks over towards the white people section.
That's right. And they get all the credit. They took resources from Africa and took it to Switzerland. Chocolate. They took chocolate from Africa. They did all the work, put it all together, and they took that product and took it over to Switzerland and added milk to it. And now they send it back to Africa, and their name is on it.
But they give you a discount on it, Danny. Come on, they cut the price. Come on.
I'll tell you the thing to get me was, we got all these white people got cooking shows. Oh, they got the ham, they got the apples, they got the corn, they got all of these delicacies and all of this. Why wasn't they cooking their own damn food back in the day?
Let me, because they didn't have to, because they were bullies. They didn't have to. Again, Donnie, all those organizations, are we our worst enemies?
Yes.
Are we our Earth's worst enemies?
We have to be very careful, Donnie, and we have to be mindful, I think, of what Malcolm said in 1964 in his ballot or bullet speech. We've been taught to focus on our differences, which keep us divided, rather than the common enemy. We have to be very careful. Yes, we are a diverse community. All Black people are not alike. And guess what? We weren't designed, and we weren't designed to be. And if we make all Black people being which, and nobody else is either, by the way. Let me say that. But if we make everybody being together as a prerequisite to moving forward together, then we're not only going to stay where we are, but we're going to move backwards. We focus on the part of the glass that's half empty instead of the part that's half full. We got to look at who our common enemy is, and that is what keeps us together. Now we may fight when we get to where we're going, but we got to get there first.
Mm-hmm. Do our Black folks change when they start to elevate themselves into politics or into boardrooms or into this, into that? Do they change, Donnie?
They become gatekeepers.
And then what they do, they push the agenda of the agenda. They push it for them. They continue that.
They protect the white man's ice more than their own people's.
That's exactly right.
Because Danny, we have never said what the world is supposed to look like when it's right. The civil rights movement never said where you're supposed to be when you quit moving. That we have never claimed. People eschew notions about reparations, which I call restitution. See, that's a difference. See, restitution is what the wrongdoer has to repay to the victim. So what's old Black folk is a lot more like restitution than reparation is an equitable concept. Restitution is legal.
Give me back what you stole.
That's right.
Give me back what you stole.
What say? Make me whole.
And regardless of how much time you get, you always got to pay the restitution. Just like the judge told the people from January 6th when they were pardoned. But Trump may have let your butt out of jail, but that don't mean you're gonna get no money back that you had to pay for restitution for what you did. That's right. There's two separate things.
That's right.
But we've been convinced, and we've been convinced that struggle and opposition will not yield victory. But sometimes the struggle and opposition is the victory. The unwillingness, when I convince you that you can't win, then I've already convinced you not to struggle.
I know I can win. Go to sleep.
That's the key.
Go to sleep. Yeah. Go to sleep just once. You'll see.
And if you believe, if you believe in the God that you say you believe in, then you got to believe you've already won.
That's right.
That's
the last shall become first.
That's right.
I believe that.
But Mahatma Gandhi said, these folk who claim to be Christians don't act much like Christ.
But that's why the churches are the way they are.
Yeah. So
none of them really know about God. If they knew about God, would we have the world we have?
That's right.
If we didn't
the church is such a disappointment. How can you tell me about Jesus Christ, born in a Black land, and all of your popes are white? What in the hell can a white pope tell me?
We got a Black pope now, right?
Hey, look, man, going back to the Nicene Council, the pope was never supposed to be white.
Yeah.
What the hell? Santa Claus was never white. Santa Claus was always a Black man. Didn't you know? Look him up. He's from Turkey.
That's right. And Jesus is a Black.
People don't have a track record of giving away a lot of things other than Cal Ripken Jr.
Well, there's a difference between
Cal Ripken got a great give back program. Yeah. But all these other foundations, you talk smack about them, then you get blacklisted. How are you going to blacklist me? I'm already blacklisted.
Yeah, you're right. Definitely right
You don't
about
do
that.
this, we'll cut your grants off. Well, then it was never my grant anyway.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You're not
I
really.
want to know why the black people in the 41st district don't know that they're supposed to have a black state senator.
Hey, look, they
Why they
went over.
asleep?
Yeah, and who they put in there? A Jewish woman?
She took it.
No, she took it, but they gave it to her, and then she took it.
The two black girls, Angela Gibson and Lakeisha Wright Brown,
Yeah,
voted for her. Yeah,
that's
they got
terrible.
nothing. They didn't
The
even
guy,
get a
what the
seat
rough?
for.
Yeah, the guy rough. He was supposed to do it. I mean, it was almost all done.
Does
Danny,
Ruff
who's
have
gonna
a chance? Can Ruff
Danny,
take
who's gonna
the
win?
seat from that girl?
Who's gonna win the county executive out here where we are, Danny? Come on, give me you got boots on the ground. Tell me who's gonna win.
Well, I'm gonna give a prediction. I think Julian's gonna win, and it's not gonna be a easy race because Izzy is gonna, Izzy is lining up his soldiers everywhere, and it all depends on who Julian has, because you have to get those votes over there in East Baltimore County, Dundalk, and all that. You got to get those votes over there for sure. So Julian's been hanging over there a lot. They got a big parade going on Friday, 4th of July. You'll see Julian. You'll see all of them. They're going to work their way from Dundalk all the way to Catonsville. And they're going to be at every one.
We will have to give you a Baltimore Reese class because I'm tired of you hacking up our name. Dundalk, okay? Baltimore.
Look,
and
turn station. I can say turn station.
And if he wins, Danny, if he wins, what are we to expect from him? What would we expect from him that we would not expect from Izzy, or that we did not expect from Ocheski?
A tractor store on Liberty Road where black people shop.
Donnie, for you to constantly talk this up, give me a phone number to your relatives. I like to meet them. You say they live in Randallstown, right? I want to see if they want to run for office. I will support them. I will get on the pavement. I will knock doors for them. Everything.
We got a new store coming up.
Gauge your residency, and you come out here.
Don't you need a tractor?
We got two new stores, Donnie, at Liberty and Milford Mill. We got a Royal Farm on one side and a grocery store on the other.
Grocery store
and look, we got stuff on Liberty Road. What you talking about?
I used to have a giant at Liberty and Milford.
We used to have a lot of things.
But even then, it was owned by the Chinese. It wasn't owned by us.
Yeah.
So Danny, what does it look like as a politician now? What does it look like for a politician, a black politician, to support the black community? What does that mean? What does it look like?
Well, number one, I'm really disappointed in the fact that we're not coming together as black folks, as leaders, as politicians, to really set a plan together on the 2026 elections. Now, Julian's running, as you said, as we know, for the county executive. Now, I am finding out now who's going to be running for his seat. There's a woman by the name of Makita Scott. You know the name? She used to be on the school board.
I know the name.
Yeah, she used to be on the school board. She dropped out because it was they were coming at her hard, and so she left the post.
Who was coming at her hard?
Threats. She was getting a lot of death threats and things of that nature from white folks.
Okay, I mean, just let's tell the truth.
From white folks.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
From white folks. So she's going to be running. She's a.
I hate cowards. Man. That makes me take me back to the Klan. Take me back to Malcolm X's mother being approached by some cats on horseback, 10 deep, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. Then they make movies about these are SEAL Team 6 These are soldiers. They are the most elite in the world. They ain't a poo butt cowards.
Hey, look.
Who terrorizes people in the middle of the night? And so such a coward, they got to put a hood over their face.
The hood
That's
is
what
the
we
internet.
appreciate about Trump. He took his damn hood off.
And they loved it. They
Upper
loved
lip smelling self. Why you always smelling his upper lip?
it. He is
The real devil, and it's hard to pick between them, but the real devil on the inside is Stephen Miller.
yes, he is. His whole family are immigrants.
Yeah.
His uncle talked about him like a dog. Said that the nerve of him.
Stephen Miller is the real
He's the devil. He is the devil.
He is. And he's the one calling the shots.
Yes, he is.
He's the
When
one
are white people going to step up and G-check them?
No, that's
when they get the same leadership that we are lacking. See, we assume that because they're white, they will not accept black leadership. That ain't true. That ain't true. We gotta disabuse that traditional notion that the only coalition among black and white is at the elite stage.
Only common sense loving white people that want to work together, we all for it. But we are tired of this foolishness. And this is authoritarianism.
Well, we all for it, but who's talking to them? Who's letting them know, other than those who might be watching this, which is very few, I suspect, but who's telling them, hey, you and I, we can fight it out once we get what we both are lacking, which is a school system that educates our children. We can fight it out once we both get what we're entitled to, which is the return of the economic resources that have been taken from us by the Jeff Bezos of the world, be the Elon Musk of the world, by the billionaire, by the Oprahs of the world. By we got to get back what has been taken from us. Well, we can fight about how we divide it once we get it back. Let's just put it in the pot, and then we'll celebrate, and then we'll fight about that. But in the meantime, they got us fighting over who's supposed to go get it. That's ridiculous.
I'll tell you, when you talk about Baltimore City and Zeke Cohen and all that, I mean, behind him, he had a whole team of black folks supporting him, right?
They had black skin.
Friends of yours, I would say.
Agenda.
I mean, but why would they do that? Why would they
because
do
they
that?
didn't understand that having a Sheriff John Anderson is going to create jobs for black people.
Yeah.
And they got tired of seeing a black boss, and because they were unsuccessful in their own endeavors, they decided to go and support Sam Cogent.
I mean, I'll tell you, it's pretty terrible. And then you look at that, you said the 41st district and how they allowed that Jewish woman to come in there like that. And the only way that she was able to do that is because she had us supporting.
Because of Angela Gibson. Say her name.
You said it?
Angela Gibson.
Yep.
Damn shame.
And she didn't get nothing out of it.
Well, we don't know what we don't know what she got out of it. I mean, I don't.
She voted for herself.
She voted right. She voted right. She wanted she voted for herself. She could.
They call her Angela Goldberg. 41st district. 41st district. Damn shame.
Yep.
And Jill Carter don't get a pass. She left the ball unprotected.
She should have had that all laid out before she left.
You left the ball unprotected.
That's exactly. You don't give up that. Who gives up that?
Busted a butt for you to get that job.
Yeah.
It's called a fumble. You know, when the ball running down the field, he lose the ball loosely, he get popped, the ball go up in there, fumble.
But it's the same thing that's going on, that went on over there in District 44B when Signor put the young guy, Ian Miller, on his ticket. I mean, all that stuff.
The young racist on your ticket.
I mean, how do you do that? And how does he get away with all the stuff that he's done and nobody checks him? I mean, this is crazy.
Did y'all tell Signor? I'm gonna recall him.
Man, let me tell you something. Signor is bad, man. It's bad.
Maybe you don't need to go back to Annapolis.
It's bad. It's bad. All this stuff that is happening is self-inflicted. We've done it to ourselves. It's like a genocide. It's like, why in the world would you support these people and not your own?
And now
Why
you know
don't-
why Harriet Tubman carried the Colt 45. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Let's just keep praying.
I want the store to get Harriet some bullets for her Colt 45.
I would have freed more of them if they'd known they were slaves.
That's right. And like you said, she had that pistol. If she had something else, she would have took out a lot of us for trying to hold her back.
But it's what she didn't have that moved her forward. What she didn't have was fear.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a Uzi.
Well, I was going to say that too, Johnny. I was going to say machine gun.
All right, guys.
Good morning,
Appreciate
world.
it.